Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 1:35. We'll call this meeting to order.
Commissioners have had the opportunity to review the agenda and have no conflicts requiring recusal or abstention. Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Commissioner Asaki,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry. Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, none being. Motion carries. Item number 4. Is there anybody here wishing to speak under public comments?
No, just confirming, Melissa, you were just here to observe? Okay, all right.
We have a young man that would like to.
Sorry, Jean.
Want to say the 3 minutes? If they have 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. You wait 3 minutes, yeah. Well, can you give us your name and,
My name is Eugene Shubler. I'm the president of the Clerical Technical Group, the OAM Union. I'm here today regarding the implementation of Article 42, personal leave, in the collective bargaining agreement that this board ratified in December 11th of 25. This agreement is not just a guideline, it is a legally binding contract between the employees and the employer and this board. The language in Article 42 is clear and unambiguous. Employees are to be credited with 72 hours of personal leave annually, awarded as defined in this agreement. There is no language anywhere in this contract that allows the employer to reduce, prorate, or offset that 72-hour award for current employees under the circumstances that have occurred. However, what has happened in practice is that employees were only granted 40 hours, with the employer claiming that the 32 hours offset due to time accrued under the previous sick leave system, July 1 to December 11. That justification is not supported anywhere in the contract. In fact, the Director of Human Resources acknowledged in writing that that provision is not in the agreement, stating that management missed adding language that would have allowed this type of proration. That language was never negotiated and is not part of the contract. In fact, Article 42 explicitly states the prior sick leave system ends, a new personal leave system begins, and there will be no deduction substitution from sick bank going forward. Additionally, under Article 6 waiver, this agreement represents the full and complete understanding of both parties. At no time can terms be added or modified unless agreed to in writing. What the employer has done is apply a condition that has never been negotiated, never written, and never agreed to. This is not a difference of interpretation. This is a failure to follow the contract as written. As union president, I filed a class action grievance on behalf of our members. We have met with management, participated in mediation through MERC, and despite multiple good faith efforts to resolve this, the employer has refused to correct the issue. We are now moving forward to arbitration as outlined in Article 20 of this agreement. I am here today because this board ratified this contract, and I believe it is important that you are aware that the terms of this agreement are not being administered as written. This issue is about more than 32 hours. It is about upholding the integrity of a negotiated agreement, ensuring that both parties honor what is signed, and maintaining trust in the collective bargaining process. Because if clear contract language can be disregarded after ratification, then the integrity of the entire agreement is called into question. I would also note that this board has placed an emphasis on employee morale.
I'll give you 30 more seconds to finish up.
Thanks. This board has placed an emphasis on employee morale and workplace culture. When employees see clear contract language not being followed, it has the opposite effect. It creates frustration and erodes trust. If a ratified agreement is not followed as written, then it ceases to have meaning. We are asking that this board ensure that the agreement you approved is followed as written. Thank you.
Thank you for your words. Anybody have any questions for you, Dean? Who's in charge of overseeing the contract or interpreting it on the road commission?
That would be me.
And you did state that it's not in there?
Not exactly.
Okay.
We could talk about it if you like.
Okay, I would like to, but we are working out a resolution to come up with something, or
Well, they've taken it to arbitration.
I don't know why I had to go that far to arbitration where we couldn't.
Well, when we talk about it, you'll know why.
We should hold off and have a closed session. We could even bring Mike Cluck in. So
Well, thank you for speaking up. Yep. Okay, item number, anybody else would like to speak under public comments? No. Okay, we're gonna close public comments. Item number 5, presentation from Plant Moran financial report for ending September 30th, 2025.
Good afternoon. My name is Keith Schmansky. I'm an audit partner with Plant Moran. With me here as well as Nate Sherb, the manager on this year's audit. We're going to go over the results of the audit for the Road Commission's fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025. This is the culmination of a process that began back in the late summer with planning and information gathering. We expended more than 500 hours in total auditing the Road Commission's financial statements and compliance with federal programs. And I'm happy to say the results we're going over this afternoon are those of a clean audit with many positive financial results. The financial statements did receive an unmodified opinion, which is a clean audit report. Lets the readers know that they can rely on the numbers included in the financial statements. And as we go to the first slide in the presentation, some of the financial highlights include the fact that the road fund increased its fund balance by about $27 million, bringing the total to $158 million of fund balance. All of that is classified as assigned, and the details in the financial statements include the planned spending for that fund balance. Act 51 distributions from the state, the largest source of revenue for the Road Commission, increased about 6%, and total revenue was down 12% from the prior year. In total, the Road Commission invested more than $88 million in the road system and road equipment. With that, I will turn it over to Nate to talk about some of the highlights of revenues and expenditures and the legacy costs, as well as some comparative information to prior years.
Hello, everybody. As Keith mentioned, my name is Nate Sherb. I'm a manager from the audit team, so I'm here to walk through revenue, expenditures, and some other financial highlights in a little more detail. Thank you. So this slide here breaks down the road funds revenue into 5 main buckets. You have your state aid and Act 51 revenue, other state sources, federal sources, local government revenue, and then a small amount of all other remaining revenue. And as always, state aid and Act 51 was the largest source of revenue for the Road Commission. Makes up about 63% of the total revenue. And as Keith mentioned, it was up about 6% this year. Federal sources and local sources are primarily related to road improvement projects, and they can vary significantly from year to year, just depending on the timing and nature of those projects. And so overall, total revenue did decrease by $8.8 million or 4% from $216 million to $216 million this year from $225 million last year. You will see though in the upcoming slides that there was also a corresponding decrease in the expenditures as well. So this breaks down the expenditures for the road fund. And the 2 main buckets here that make up most of the expenditures for the Road Commission are the road improvement program and the maintenance expenses. Overall, total expenditures for the year ended at $189 million compared to $216 million in fiscal year 2024, which is a decrease of about $27.2 million or 12.7%. The largest decrease came from the road improvement group, which decreased about 22 million, and that's mainly driven by the timing of projects and when work is completed and things of that nature. The maintenance expenditures also decreased by about $14 million. Here we really have a comparative breakdown of revenue, expenditure, and fund balance over the prior 5 years. And as you can see, in all of these, in all of the recent years, revenues have exceeded expenditures, which has led to the consistent increases in fund balance the last 5 years. And of the ending fund balance this year, which is about $158 million, 148 of that is assigned by management to a variety of different things, which I'll go over in just a second. And then the other piece of that is non-spendable, which is made up of prepaid assets and inventory. Fund balance assignments include construction, capital outlay, subdivision construction, and long-term portions for post-employment benefits, uninsured loss, and compensated absences. Finally, the last 2 slides will go over the retirement system and the OPEB, or retiree healthcare trusts. And the retirement system itself has been well funded, above 80% for the last 20 years or so. And each red bar represents the total pension liability as of December 31st, 2024, which is when the actuary calculates that total pension liability. And that amount represents benefits owed to current retirees and eligible active employees who are owed pensions in the future. The blue bar represents the assets as of 12/31. And so the net pension liability as of 12/31/2024 is $32.5 million, which is about 87% funded. One thing I would like to point out there is that because that is as of 12/31/2024, that does not include any investment income or losses from 1/1/2025 through 9/30/2025. Finally, we have the actuarially determined contribution, which is the required contribution that the Road Commission is required to make for the retirement system. And at one point, it was as high as $5.1 million. However, through continued funding, that number has actually come down to $3.7 million for the year. Finally, here we have the retiree healthcare system, and the Road Commission has continued to make pre-funding contributions into this. For 2024, those advanced fundings were $3.5 million, and being proactive the past few years making these advanced contributions has helped raise the funding for this plan to about 60%. If you can look there and see the number, in 2016, it was about the total or the net OPEB liability was 127 million compared to assets of 31 million. So that was 24.5. So over the last 10 years, it's increased by almost 40%. So while there is still a way to go to be fully funded, there have been strides made over the last 10 years. With that, we'd like to take any questions you may have.
Good question. Thank you. Page 2, other state sources of funding. What are those other state sources?
They're primarily state contributions to road improvement projects. Also trunk line maintenance.
So can you give us an example of a few?
Well, trunk line maintenance, of course, is the Road Commission's share for doing both the winter maintenance and the ongoing summer maintenance of MDOT owned roads. They have a contract with the Road Commission to do that work on their behalf. Their participation in projects, sometimes there's, or more often than not, there's federal spending, but there are a number of projects as well that have state contributions where the state kicks in its money towards a percentage of the project.
The most has been in 4 years. I was wondering what.
A portion of that is due to the nature of the projects. The road improvement project as a whole had fewer expenditures this year. Really, 2024 was somewhat off the charts in terms of the amount of road improvement projects. 2025 was back down closer to what it was in many previous years. So with fewer expenditures, there was fewer revenue coming from the other parties that participate in those projects.
Any other questions for Plant Moran?
Close things out, we had a couple other deliverables as part of the audit, the single audit report on compliance with federal spending, as well as our end of audit letter. Not going over those in any detail, because there really are no exceptions or major things that we need to bring to your attention. So like I said at the beginning, it was a very clean audit. We thank everyone for their assistance and participation that helped, particularly during the 3 weeks where we were here at your offices working through the audit, but quite a bit of time before and after that. Particular thanks to your finance director and his entire team for their assistance and the great work that they did in being prepared for the audit.
Thank you. We need to have a motion to approve the. All right, thank you. Item number 6, minutes of the March 12th mission meeting. Are there any corrections or additions we need to look at?
So move. Move it.
A second?
Yeah, sure.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 7. A and B. It's been moved.
Support.
It's moved and supported. Is there any discussion? On 7A or B? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, permits.
Recommend board approve the permits as submitted by staff.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None being, motion carries. Item number 9.
Recommend board adopt the resolution declaring petition invalid for Jack's Green Lake Park SAD.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Support.
It's been supported. Is there any discussion?
So what happens next if we're saying that it's invalid?
Not me.
The residents, as part of the potential SAD, can reconnect with us and try to engage with us to circulate another petition if they desire.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 10.
Recommend board adopt the resolution accepting the deed and easement for recording.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being, motion carries. Item number 11.
Recommend board adopt the resolution accepting the right of way from Sorrel Estates.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12.
Recommend board adopt the resolution of support for our purchase of 2027 federal aid from the Kalkaska County Road Commission.
So moved.
Support.
The moved and supported. Is there any discussion? I have a question. How long does it take once we do this to get the funds? Is it like immediately or is it a month, 90 days?
No, it takes a while. The project has to be obligated. That's when the money's, if you will, ours. So the plans have to be developed. It goes up. It's still in the program. It's still in the plan.
So first we get the money, then we apply it to,
Well, we already know in this case what project we're gonna use it on.
okay,
And so the state does what they call its obligation of the funding, and that's when we'll have the money
and it'll be this season?
next year. So it's our next year's project.
How do we decide which project does it have to do with the expenses lining up, like the cost of the project lining up with the?
Well, we've already had Dunlop Road in our program for, it's a gravel road up in Oxford that we're going to pave.
Mhm.
So this is us trying to find, or finding more additional federal aid at a reasonable price.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 13,
Recommended board approve the appropriation transfer. And this is moving or carrying forward or over, whatever you want to say, the funds from last fiscal year into this fiscal year.
So move.
Support.
it's the move and support. Is there any discussion? So this is, money we didn't spend? Or,
It's timing. It's basically at 9:30, we still have these ongoing projects going, and we just had to move the budget into the new year.
It's an accounting thing to have them, well, yeah, you could say what we didn't spend in 25 into 26.
these are all of our 2026 projects then, right? They're all starting at the same time, different times, or?
Sure, they're different times.
They'll be starting at various times.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none being, motion carries. Item number 14, we have A through G. We'll
Yep.
start with A. Go ahead.
Well, 14A through G, so recommended board approve the agreements and task orders listed.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 15.
Item 15, is recommended board approve the agreement with Kalkaska County Road Commission for the federal aid fund transfer.
So move.
Support.
The move and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 16.
16A, we received bids for an excavator's rotary motor attachment for an excavator. It's recommended board award it to Morgan England LLC.
So move.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? So this here, this goes on to what?
Mini excavators.
And that's gonna, every yard has one of these, or?
Well, they will after this. We've got 3 mini excavators. We purchased one last year as a trial. It worked out well.
Okay.
So we're adding to the fleet.
We got a trailer that we could put that on, or a transport
Yeah.
trailer and others, whatever we do?
Yep.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 16B.
Receive bids for prefabricated signs. Our annual finance is recommended board awarded to the 2 vendors listed on the memo.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? I know we have we order the stuff every year. We make that many signs, or they break, or they old beat up, or?
They get hit, they break, they lose reflectivity, they have to be replaced on a regular basis. So, yeah.
We have some that are ready to fall down and never.
No.
No,
No.
no, we try to keep up on the inventory.
So it's like a 5-year life plan for those or,
It depends on the type of sign that it is, whether it's warning, regulatory, it can range the years that it's in service.
we always get the top of line, state of the art? Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 16C,
Receive bids for our annual requirements for hot mix asphalt. It's recommended board award it to both Ajax and Cadillac Asphalt.
So moved.
it's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 16D,
Receive bids for our annual requirements for grass seeds. Recommend the board award it to Rhino Seed and Turf.
So moved.
Support.
been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
Nice job, huh?
That 144 was a typo, it was 144. But yeah, there was a little price drop. Sorry. Daryl caught that this afternoon. I was like, wow, I missed that.
That's pretty good.
All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 16E,
Receive bids for corrugated metal pipe bands and bolts. It's recommended board award it to Cadillac Culver.
So moved.
Support.
it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Item 17, receive bids for Burner Estates, SAD in Bloomfield Township. It's recommended board award it to Allied Construction.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? I have discussion. Allied is banned from MDOT to do projects for us. I mean, for the state. And, they banned them. Why are we using them?
I don't think that's an accurate statement. My understanding is that Allied Construction is a new company. It's about a year old. And they have not applied as of yet for pre-qualification from MDOT. But it should be very specifically noted that this was not, MDOT qualification is not a bid specification for this bid. This is a township initiated SAD. And so it's the township residents' money that is at stake here and at issue here. So Allied Construction is a year-old company. We've asked them if they plan on applying for MDOT pre-qualification. They're under no obligation to share that information with us. Again, because it's not a spec in this particular bid, no MDOT funds are involved. This is, a township initiated SAD.
Is it gonna be prevailing wage?
I don't know that I don't think it is, but it's not that wasn't a spec either, if I recall, but.
Okay. And is it the same owner that had the former Allied?
Mr. Foster's name was on the bid documents
But you don't know the makeup of
of the current company. I do, yeah. I mean, obviously that information is on Laura. There are other people that are involved. It's like I said, it's a completely different company from a corporation formation standpoint.
I didn't support Allied, with a past contract that come before me. And I can't lay my head down at night knowing what I know. So I just want to go on record how I'm gonna vote on this, Is there any other discussion?
we did receive a letter from the supervisor.
Mhm.
That was in support of Allied.
So it's my understanding that there's not like another option anyway, that you really just have one company to choose from. So it's not like we're choosing a company over another company, correct?
Go to the low bidder and we're required to go with the low bidder.
Oh, there's options.
Yeah, there's two other, I think there was 3 bidders, wasn't there, or 4?
But isn't the
Six.
second bidder, aren't they the same company too or something?
That's what I was informed of today, so,
Well, yeah, ASI was the second bidder, and like I think I mentioned, their leadership spent more time, right?
and
But to your point, they're a prequel,
But they are people.
so I wouldn't stand alone on the prequel.
If we didn't agree, what happens?
Do you mean like if you turned it down from a majority vote perspective?
Right.
If you declined to
Right,
support
what
the
would
town,
be the next step?
well, it would die but this is the township initiated SAD, so we would have to reconcile that with the township. The township, to Commissioner Saki's point, the township supervisor has expressed his support. And then the residents don't get the benefit of that SAD.
Okay, so it wouldn't go, but there wouldn't be an option to put it back out to bid again and see if they can get somebody else. It would just die.
we could choose the 6
They
bidders
could
that bid
choose
it.
to do
The
that.
next one's in line. We got 4 other choices.
There'd be an increase. And then they would have to go to residents.
To get more money.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right,
so the assessment to each of the residents, the higher, when you go down this bid list,
Mhm.
if you're gonna jump from 2.6 million to 2.7 to 3 million,
Right,
The third
the
bidder.
third bidder is $3 million.
understood.
So you're gonna have an over $400 increase in assessment spread out over those residents. And then you also have the issue of not going with the low bid, or not really a factor that's allowed. And that would be my concern.
But the reason why they were banned from MDOT was because of bid
They
rigging.
were-
They were not banned from MDOT. Like I said, that is not an accurate statement, nor was that a specification in this bid.
So what you're telling us is that they still cannot bid work for them because they're not pre-approved?
Again, if you look at the specifications of the bid.
No, the question is, with MDOT, you said that, the statement you said about MDOT with them, that doesn't mean necessarily,
They can bid. Again, the bid some bids say you have to be a pre-qualified vendor. That's a specification in the bid, the same thing as like, a certain length of a pipe. It's the same thing. If that spec is in the bid,
they monitor everything with prevailing wage, this, that.
there are many factors. There's a whole
Yeah.
application that vendors have to fill out to be pre-qualified, right?
Yes.
So it's assets, insurance, timing, schedule. And again, this is a year-old company. I can't speak for them. They're not my client. I don't know if they're waiting to have more meat on the bone when they submit that application. They're under no obligation, obviously, to share that with us.
But currently they meet the specs you're saying.
Well, I'm saying,
They
but
meet our
MDOT,
specs.
it was-
Local county specs, yeah.
yeah, because MDOT pre-qualification was not a spec in the bid.
Understand?
So they absolutely meet the specs relative to this particular, and they are the lowest bid by a significant amount of money.
and we've experienced, well, I guess I would have to say with FLI, which no longer exists. But we never had any issues with them, because, as I mentioned, when this all came down a few years ago, we looked through all our stuff and we found no wrongdoing.
So they were accused of bid rigging, but it was.
Well, that was downriver.
They were convicted.
They were convicted. The previous company and 2 of their officers.
For bid rigging.
Yeah, and they're still, the 2 officers are still on probation with the federal government for Sherman Act violations. They did not go to prison, unlike the ASI officials. ASI as a company was also convicted, as were the officers, because companies are people under the law. They were convicted bigger, and their personnel spent significant time in prison.
We're wanting to hire them again. They're recommending us to hire them.
No,
Yeah, it was ASI.
Different name, but same officers.
Yeah, no, ASI officers spent time in prison, not FL.
So we'll have to strike the first bid, the second bid, and then go to the next bid.
You don't have to.
I know, but I'm just saying if the other ones have baggage, whatever.
If I'm a resident in that subdivision, I'm pretty pissed off. Well, I'm just, if I was.
Do they know all this? What their
Mark, you wanna
history
say?
is? Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
To speak. Good afternoon. As Commissioner Osaki expressed, right, Bloomfield Township Supervisor has expressed his concern in regards to not accepting the low bid. Again, the residents of Bloomfield Township are paying for this project, and it's Bloomfield Township's perspective that we should be taking the low. Keep in mind that FLI, even after they went through their conviction and their hearings and et cetera, did 7 or 8 SAD projects for this agency that were approved. So also included that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners contribution program also contributed to those projects that FLI did in the SAD programs. So I want to bring that forward. It's been a discussion amongst Bloomfield Township. And again, we expect that our residents are going to get the best bid that is available.
Mark, do we know how many residents you're talking about?
Berners Estates, there's like 145 residents that this would affect. So I think it's also important to know that this is a Bloomfield Township project. This is not a Road Commission for Oakland County project. Hence the reason that the Road Commission has defined it as a community administered SAD.
Is there any other discussion?
So my concern, I don't have the details because I wasn't around and don't know what happened downriver. But the concern is from an ethics standpoint that when businesses or organizations do things that aren't ethical, and then they have the ability to reorganize and present themselves again and do work again without the consequence, it's almost like, okay, well, you got caught. And so you did, it sounds like they were held accountable for what they did, but it's not always about what we've seen and people actually get caught doing. It has to do with like their integrity in the way that they do business. I don't know enough to make a determination of what happened and how that necessarily impacts who's involved now, but that's a concern. So I'm in a position where I could impact whether or not there's like a precedence of when you don't do the right thing, like you can't just go and start again and say, okay, well, we're doing the right thing now. But at the same time, I understand that we have a responsibility to uphold the desires or whatever the community and the residents. So what I would suggest that we consider doing is maybe looking at our policy around, you know, how people do business, right? There's things that you can do that aren't illegal, but they're still not ethical, right? And do we uphold or support doing business with people who don't conduct business ethically? So that would be what I would say would be something that we could look at from a standpoint from where we stand.
I know we adopted stuff for prevailing wage with our projects.
Mhm.
We have something in place, but we didn't do it on this one because it's a Bloomfield Township project, correct? Correct. But they come to us for guidance and engineering and
That's the deal we have with them.
yeah, so we wanted to make sure they hire the best competent contractor through
And
us.
quite honestly, staff all gone through this. I mentioned before, we wouldn't recommend to award this to any contractor that's going to make the road commission look bad. Just not gonna do it. And you look here, we have a number of bids. That tells me there's no shenanigans going on here. Because we had some heavy hitters bid on this. I think it's a fair and just bid.
Why didn't we put prevailing wage specs in this?
Gets back to the township.
They didn't.
They didn't want it.
Township requested that there was a preferred MDOT qualification, and there had been in previous bids, in previous SAD projects. So
So the township did request preferred MDOT approved contractor.
MDOT qualification.
We recommended one that wasn't.
I
Correct.
said preferred and.
Well, what's the definition of
Wasn't a
preferred?
requirement.
Yeah,
Not a requirement.
It's not a
It's
requirement.
not a requirement.
so it's a gray area.
But again, if you look at the number of bidders,
Yep.
significant number of bidders, and that's the low bid. So if you're gonna, if we are gonna try to say that there's some shenanigans going on here, and that's why we didn't give it to them, they have a good argument saying that that's just not right.
Quick math, I mean, the third bidder is approximately $4,000 a household more.
And that's significant.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
And again, we get back to staff here, we would not recommend to this board to hire a contractor that is going to make this agency look bad. We're just not gonna do it.
Well, Tylee makes a good point on what she said, you know. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you want
Oh, yeah, we're doing a
We'll
vote.
do a
to
roll
roll
call.
call?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner McPherson,
No.
Commissioner Saki,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Okay, item number, what are we on now?
18,
18.
let's recommend the board approve the Sourcewell purchase of mechanic tools and toolbox from M2 Auto Parts.
So moved.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? These are snap-on tools, are these, what kind of tools are these? Brand? Mac, Pro, Snap-on?
Yeah, I know, I'm
These ain't no.
married and, no, it's.
Or I don't have a copy in my board pack. Who were you recommending? Get the bid?
M2 Auto Parts.
Okay. Thanks.
It's a Napa store, so
Yeah.
it's not Harbor Freight.
Yep,
That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, it's not
Or-
no, it's Napa.
And we're buying good
We're
tools. I
buying
mean,
quality, we're buying quality tools.
Yes, we buy quality tools.
Yeah, we don't, again, we're not Harbor Freight or worse.
because if that's the case, we're gonna be doing this all the time. you know?
No. And we're one of the few agencies that we provide toolboxes and tools for our mechanics. A lot of times you have to bring your own.
Could you let me know what brand we're getting and what, you know? But all in favor, is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 19.
Hey, Sam's up.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sam Pitzer, Director of Engineering. Here to talk to you about our SAD program. Next slide, please. As you may recall, the engineering department is composed of 5 divisions. One of them is the Subdivision Improvement and Development Division, or SID division. They're responsible for administering our SAD program. Next slide. So what is an SAD? It's a designated area where the majority of property owners agree to allow the government to levy a special assessment in exchange for a specific service. More specifically, for our SAD program, first, it's only initiated by the property owners. And we follow the requirements as outlined in Public Act 246 of 1931, which authorizes property owners to empower road commissions to assess them for road paving. And it's important to note that this is for road paving, and we don't address major drainage concerns that would be occurring in a subdivision for whatever reason. And also wanted to highlight within our SAD program, for our SADs, the Road Commission offers a 15-year warranty. This is not required by the Public Act of 246. This is something that the Road Commission provides. Next slide, please. There's a number of things that the Road Commission does as part of its SAD program or process that we'll talk through. As you can see, this is an overview of our SAD process, and it starts with non-statutory required elements to the process, or not required by Public Act 246. And we'll walk through that process now. Next slide, please. So it first starts with our expression of interest, and this first step is non-statutory. And this is where a property owner would reach out to the Road Commission with interest in the SAD process itself. And if once they've had the opportunity to talk to staff about the SAD program and they're interested in taking the real first step, then they can request an expression of interest form. And the expression of interest form may look and feel like a legal petition, but it's not a legal petition. It's an expression of interest form. And it provides that, so once a resident has that expression of interest form, that resident would essentially walk through the neighborhood, walk through to their neighbors and collect signatures along the roads that they're interested in improving. Once they're able to obtain enough signatures, or what they believe to be enough signatures, they'll work with our staff in the SAD division to complete and verify that there's enough signatures. And when I say enough, there needs to be enough interest or enough signatures that composes more than 50% of the frontage along the right-of-way for each street that they're interested in improving. So once we've been able to verify that there's enough interest from the residents within this proposed SAD, we start some legwork. We'll have staff going out to conduct some site visits, maybe some preliminary survey, evaluate pavement conditions so that we can start preliminary engineering design to rehabilitate those roads. And once we've been able to complete some of that preliminary engineering work, we're able to put together or estimate a cost for construction for this proposed SAD. With that estimated construction cost, we can put together a preliminary assessment roll, which we'll talk a little bit more about in detail here in the next slide. But a preliminary assessment roll will essentially give an early indication to residents how much that they would be paying into an SAD to be able to fix their road. Once we've completed that preliminary assessment roll and that preliminary engineering, we package all that information up from the proposed design, the estimated cost for construction, and the preliminary assessment roll information into an administrative proposal that's sent out to the residents. And wanted to also note here that from the time that we verified that expression of interest form to distributing out the administrative proposals, it can take typically about a year from that verification of the EOI or expression of interest form to receiving these proposals. Next slide, please. A little bit more on the preliminary assessment roll. It first starts with determining the unit of benefit for each property. So we do that by getting the total frontage along each road right of way and divided by the number of homes. Now, I'll skip to the number 3 real quick in terms of unit of benefit. Frontage is equal to or smaller than the average home frontage receives a unit of benefit of 1. So if it's smaller or about the average size of the frontage itself, they receive a unit benefit of 1. Now, determining the base assessment, which is the base for units that have a unit benefit of 1, they'd be assigned a base assessment which is the total project cost or total construction costs divided by the number of units of benefit. Now, frontages, properties with frontages that are larger than the average frontage, will receive a slightly larger unit of benefit based off of a sliding scale, maxing out at 1.3. And this approach and this strategy in assigning that unit of benefit has upheld in challenges sent to the tax tribunal. And the goal really is to find a balance between the frontage and how much is assessed per property. Some unique situations that we come across pretty often is corner lots, and that receives a unit benefit of 0.5 along that road right of way. Also, some other interesting or unique assessing situations, public parks have a unit of benefit of 0. Churches can be assessed. Schools are not assessed, but can voluntarily participate. Next slide, please.
Has any schools ever participated?
Yeah, it's real rare. I wouldn't say never, but it's rare.
Okay, thank you.
All this information is provided on our website. So on day one, if a resident is interested, they can go directly to our website to find all of this information. And when we send out our administrative proposals, it also reminds residents that that information can also be found on our website itself. So some of that information includes information about the process. It includes information about petitions being circulated that are active in being circulated. It also has information on administrative proposals that have been sent out to residents for specific SADs. Next slide, please. Wanted to highlight some of the information that we do share on that website is a video that Craig and Cindy's office worked with our staff in putting together. I think it's a pretty the comprehensive opportunity that really engages residents and informs them of our SAD program itself. But also in there are brochures, information about additional information about our process, an FAQ sheet, as well as our contact information if they wanted to reach out to our SID division directly. Next slide, please. After all the residents have had the opportunity to review the information from the administrative proposals, engage with staff, and set their appointments to talk with them. We then start our statutory or required process as outlined in Public Act 246. And it starts with property owners requesting a petition. So this is a legal petition, and our SID division works with legal closely in putting together the legal petition books for residents to circulate. When a resident approaches us and says they would like a legal petition, we also notify everybody within that potential SAD via mail, letting them know that there is a legal petition being circulated within the boundary of the proposed SAD. We also let them know that if you are not interested in moving forward with an SAD, to not sign it. Some residents may and can get confused, and they may just sign it not knowing what they're really signing. But if they don't want to move forward with an SAD, we ask them not to sign it. But once a petition starts circulated, they have 90 days to return it. And during that opportunity, we then review the petitions closely with our legal department and our right-of-way divisions to ensure that we have a valid petition. And items like that to determine whether or not a petition is valid is making sure that there's enough signatures that represents more than 51% of the total frontage within the SAD itself along each roadway. And then also the signatures must match the Register of Deeds. So we have to have all the signatures that are on each Register of Deeds from each property. So if we're missing one signature, so if there are two names on the Register of Deeds and we only get one signature from that one property, that's not a valid petition. We would then
So if you have 60% of the residents, but you have 40% of the frontage, doesn't work, right?
The other item in determining a valid petition or not is whether or not the property is delinquent on their taxes. So if they're delinquent on their taxes, we cannot determine that this petition is valid. Once
If they're not paid up on their taxes, it's invalid.
we've determined a petition is valid or invalid in the case of today's agenda, you will see on your board agenda determining to declare a petition valid or invalid in the case of today. Next slide, please. The next step is another statutory requirement is a hearing on objections. So on the board agenda, you will see on a future board agenda, if the SAD gets along this far, you'll see a first order of determination and establishing a hearing on objections, and then also appointing a hearing examiner. So the hearing examiner would facilitate this public hearing or hearing on objections, and it provides residents within the proposed SAD an opportunity to support or object to an SAD. That all the commentary on all the information provided during the public hearing is recorded and documented by the hearing examiner, and then presented to you on a following board agenda and presented to you to confirm the hearing examiner's report. Residents, after the hearing examiner's report has been confirmed by you, the board, residents have an opportunity to request a petition for reconsideration. So if there's a lot of disagreements between whether or not an SAD should move forward, residents, within 10 days of you confirming the hearing examiner's report, the residents can request a petition to reconsider and potentially present that to you for your reconsideration. Next slide, please. Assuming everything is still moving along and we have enough support, we then move into finalizing our engineering plans and our documentation, getting ready for bid letting. You'll see on a board agenda a final order of determination designating that this SAD is a project and identifying the bid letting schedule for this SAD. Once we've had our bids, we can update our assessment roll based off of the contractor bids. Earlier in the process, we put together a preliminary assessment roll, letting residents know how much they potentially could be paying into an SAD, but bids can be often lower than contractor bids can be lower, especially in the case of Verner Estates, as we saw, can be lower than our estimated costs. And then we would update the assessment roll to let residents know of what their updated potential assessments could be. We do this once we've shared that assessment roll. We then establish a hearing on apportionment of costs. That provides the public another opportunity to voice their support or opposition to the SAD itself, and more specifically, even to the actual apportionment of the costs or the amount that they would have to pay for and oppose that or disagree with that. Those objections and appeals are often directed to the tax tribunal for if they wanted to challenge the actual assessment that's identified within the assessment roll itself. Next slide, please. Thanks. Once we've awarded, once we've gotten through that public hearing on a apportionment of costs, and the board has awarded the contract to go into construction, we then start construction. And we manage an SAD project in construction the same way we manage all of our locally let projects that go into construction as well. So there's very little difference in terms of our quality assurance, our materials testing and inspection requirements. We keep that consistent across the board. Something unique within the SAD, within our SADs, is that this also includes sprinkler repairs and even new sod. Not their entire lawn, not their entire front yard lawn, but just the sod or just the grass that we would be impacting during construction activities. And again, also highlighting that once that we provide that 15-year warranty after, and essentially the clock starts as soon as construction is closed out. Slide, please. So that was the SAD program process in a nutshell, from non-statutory to statutory requirements as outlined in Public Act 246. Just wanted to mention that from the end, from verifying enough interest and an expression of interest to all the way to them receiving their proposals, their administrative proposals can take about a year. The entire process from a resident reaching out to the road commission with asking about information about the SAD program to completing construction can take up to or a little over 2 years, depending on how quickly expression of interest forms are returned or how quickly petitions are determined to be valid. That was my presentation. Are there any questions? Yes.
For the Werner Estates project that we just talked about with Bloomfield Township, how long did it take to get to where we are now? From the start of the petitions?
Werner Estates has been on our radar for some time. When it started specifically to specific township administrator SAD, Mark may be able to speak that.
I can see you're pretty.
Oh, okay.
Werner Estates has been around, I'm going to say probably 3 years through the process. It's also mindful to keep in thought, you as the board with a community administered SAD, it did not follow this process. It followed a process through the township. So versus Act 246, which the road commission follows for their SAD projects, the township is governed by Act 188, which is a different process. So we, as the township, hold all of our own administrative meetings, all of our own approvals of legal petitions, issuing the legal petitions, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then through a service contract agreement with the road commission, the road commission does the design for the final projects with input from the township, and then they construct it on our behalf with oversight from the township.
So yours, so this was going to be about a 3.5 year project.
Yeah, and it may have been around, again, I can't recall, but it may have been around even prior to that. Sometimes what you find with subdivision projects is they come, they're not successful, and then they come back years later, a year later, 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years later, and then they end up.
But normally it's 2 years, is what you said, right?
Beginning to end.
All right, thank you.
Just to Werner Estates, particular in terms of the timing of it, we were working with the township because they also had a municipal project of their own, replacing. They were replacing their water main within the same vicinity. So we were working around in coordination with that.
Have we had any warranty claims in the past, like 2 to 5 years on any of these projects?
Every year residents do reach out, not on all SADs, but residents do reach out to letting us know, informing us of certain issues that may pop up along the roadway. And that's pretty routine. We ask them if they see anything to reach out to us. We also have as part of our own routine to visit all the completed SADs and evaluate the road condition. Every year we do put together what we call the SAD repair program that goes out to bid about once a year. The board did accept an award that contract for the SAD repair program the fall of 2025. That is still an active contract, and that repair program composes of those fixes that come up during the warranty period.
Right, and none of them are catastrophic. There's some crack sealing, some curb replacement.
So typically, if there are any warranties, they're superficial.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Does the clock restart? And there's nothing, I would imagine that if there was anything that was like recurring frequently, that we would address those issues with the contractors, like frequently recurring warranty issues. Not necessarily the same place, but we know, like, 2 years in, we're getting this issue with the sealant or the curbs. That's not anything that's been a concern for us.
No, it is not. It is usually issues like that are usually addressed during our, from our materials testing and inspection process. Materials that that are used on site are tested and inspected, but the workmanship, the work that the contractors do are monitored throughout the day as well. So we know that the materials we know what the material going in is, and we know how it's been being built. So we monitor that closely to avoid any catastrophic issues.
Now that said a 15-year warranty, one of them slides, right?
Yes.
So 7 years it screws up. We go back to the contractor that did the work, or do we eat that?
We eat it.
Has that ever happened, or?
Not in my recollection.
Well, the repair program, we were going out every year and doing some minor repairs.
But it's minor. We haven't had
Right.
any catastrophic
Catastrophic. Yeah,
failures or like all the pavement came out.
it's really not that we had,
Right. We do a good job, and most of our contractors do a pretty good job.
All right, any other questions? Nice
Thank you,
report.
Sam.
Thank you. Pretty in-depth. Thank you. Item 20. New business.
I just had a little sidebar with Daryl, said Allen Road should start later next week.
We getting any feedback from residents?
No, yeah, it's been pretty quiet lately. Yeah, the resident with the berm is taking his trees out. He had some pine trees on there. He's removed those, so just getting the equipment up and running. If the weather is conducive, hopefully next week.
Did you, somebody sent you the,
Yeah.
or the tools? Carlisle, S&K, Gray Pneumatic, Ingersoll Rand, Milwaukee, and a few others. All lifetime warranty tools.
Thank you.
Daniel.
Oh, forgot about Danielle. Danielle, only impressed one. I mentioned it upstairs, but
Yeah, here you can look at it. It's just, we've been working with U of M on a project to retime traffic signals. It uses vehicle trajectory data that they get from an OEM. And then
you can say GM here.
GM, and they have so U of M has a tool that can look at, they can look at all of our intersections and see if there's delay, and then make any determination on if we need to change any signal timing, whether it's the cycle length, a green time, stuff like that. So we've done it. We worked with U of M for probably about 5 years, and we've used this tool at about 55 traffic signals. So they reviewed the whole city of Birmingham a number of years ago, and we retimed, I think it was like 3 or 4 traffic signals, and just to improve coordination, reduce delay.
How many staff do we have dedicated to that?
Well, we have maybe 2, and then whenever that U of M makes recommendations, that we have one of our crews install this traffic signal time.
Congratulations. That's great work. Thank you.
It is, it really is. It's,
Button edge.
yep.
We had some TV time too, right? Was
Yeah.
it Channel 7 that did it? I'm trying to remember.
Several have, the Wall Street Journal did a story on it. So yeah, it's because doing a traffic signal timing can be very expensive to do, and this is very cost effective. So.
Technical magazines picked up on it and publications. They kind of went nationwide.
So in 5 years, all ours will be like that?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't, we'll see. We'll see. It just depends, because we have a lot of adaptive traffic signals in our area, but they're gonna look at, where the problems are. That's where we start first.
Any other new business from the commissioners?
I would like to just first express my gratitude to you, Dennis, for being so proactive in supporting with the Waymaster issue with getting the MRI machines in for the local hospital. So that was like a few weeks back, but thank you for that. And, everyone that helped with making sure that got done in a timely fashion. And just want to thank everybody for being so responsive and timely whenever I have questions. I appreciate your acknowledgement and getting back to me. And personally, I want to thank you all that have expressed your condolences and for the loss of my grandmother in the card. That was very meaningful to me. I appreciate you all taking the time to do that. And so just want to thank you all. My grandmother was 94 years old and she was born in South Carolina at a time where women didn't drive. They definitely didn't go to school. She had a college degree. She was a teacher. She managed a nightclub down there, and she was the oldest of 10 kids. And she was just a phenomenal woman. And so just truly appreciate you all reaching out and expressing your condolences to me. So thank you for that.
You have anything?
No.
I have a thing with morale. And now we bring up the contract again. So evidently the morale's not good with that, you know. So I don't know what we're doing with morale. I know we hired another person come back. I heard good things about you.
Thank you.
And you were brought up to date with the morale, what we're working on.
Yes,
You have a plan you're gonna come up with?
we have a committee to do that.
Okay.
So we're working on it.
We're getting some momentum on it, then we were gonna wait till after the contract was done and see how it worked out. Then there's issues with the building and that still is part of it too, I guess, what I hear. So,
We're busting at the seams.
What would be the next steps with like scheduling a closed session to get more information about?
We'll do it next time for the closed session, or obviously there's two interpretations of that contract language.
Okay, so we'll get notification of when that'll happen.
We're gonna try to set it up if we can get our labor attorney in next time, but we'll let you know.
Okay.
There's only certain provisions that you can go into closed session for. A written opinion from legal counsel, which would include Mr. Clark.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarity.
You don't want to get in trouble with that.
I just heard them mention closed session and I just want to make sure that I'm
Yeah.
prepared and aware of when that's gonna happen, so.
and our next meeting date,
April 9th,
record.
right around the corner.
Then I'll follow one after, follow one after April 9th, it's
That'd be April 23rd.
23rd.
Yep.
I will be out of town for that. I'll be in Washington DC, I believe. Any other discussion? Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Michigan State, basketball.
Good job, Danielle.